Hello and welcome to another episode of Hope on Road. This is your host and creator, Brandon Kenyon. How's everyone doing? I know the last episode I put out was the beginning of summer, and now it is the last day of July. Actually, the last day of July. This is episode 8, or the Sideways 8 Infinity. And it's just been a intense summer for me personally, and I'm sure a lot of you as well. And this whole episode idea kind of just has been like building on top of itself over the past few weeks. And I first want to start saying that I was in a headspace of doubt and negativity and my shadow, not self, of should I even continue a podcast? No one's listening. Why am I doing this? And I said before in maybe the third episode that I put out that it's just helpful in general to get my thoughts out there as like a voice journal. And it's out of my comfort zone. Like I said, I hate the way my voice sounded recorded. But then I started listening to the episodes I submitted and posted, and I'm like, who's that guy talking? So it's kind of fun and exciting, like, to get out of your comfort zone, you know? And over the past few weeks, I've been in situations and lessons, and you know, there's always a lesson to be learned, and I went from a couple situations to my normal avoidant attachment style, just avoiding everything at all costs, avoiding confrontation. And then there was stuff that I experienced and chose the uncomfortable, something I wouldn't normally do. And the outcome was just like so much better. So, you know, I had to get out of a headspace. I felt like I set an intention when I started this podcast that I wanted to do a new episode every Thursday, because Thursday was the day I was born. It's my favorite day of the week. And the fact that, you know, I haven't put out an episode in almost 2 months, I started beating myself up about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not being authentic. And this guy that I was hanging out with, he was saying the same thing to me. He's like, well, it defeats the purpose if you aren't consistent with the intention that you set. However, you know, I'm recording this right now, today, July 31st, and about an hour ago, I was listening to a podcast about projector human design type, which you might be like, what's that? You know what I mean? And it might come into your awareness when you're ready, or you can go look it up. Human design's amazing. It has to deal with chakras and energy and all sorts of fun stuff, getting to know yourself better and how to handle your own energy, as well as other people in your lives. Because we all are energetic beings, and me, for example, my energy type is not what I would have thought it was if I like knew about energy and stuff my whole life. I'm a projector, so I'm about 20% of the human population. And our energy type's way different. And I actually have never met a projector human design type in person. Usually it's just podcasters that I listen to, and Kris Jenner. I know she's a projector. So our energy type is different, whereas you kind of aren't consistent. You're kind of flow in the deconditioned state. You know, 70% of the population, there's 3 different types of human design types that are most of the population. You know, you go out and get what you want. but the projectors have to wait for an invitation. And it's so funny because this summer, that song with by Future, Drake, and Thames, Wait For You, I literally sing it like I'm singing Thames' part, like, and I feel like I should get a Grammy. You know what I mean? Like, as I'm singing in the car, I was like, it's like my whole voice changes, and it just echoes throughout my whole body to the depths of my soul. And every time I listen to it, it's like I'm hearing it for the first time. I'm obsessed with it. Literally, I play it every day, blasting. I'm going to be deaf by next year, literally blasting music. However, it has to do with my energetic type. And consistency is definitely not part of the projector's, energy type. However, everyone's unique, and you have to look at your experience, and not everything that you learn from other people, so on and so forth, might not resonate with you 100%, and that's okay. But I'm like, why am I have so much guilt for not putting out the episode? Like, I set the intention. It's like I almost defeated myself. However, it's all a learning process. Like I said, perfectionism runs deep in everyone. And the funny thing is the people that I love the most in this world, quote unquote family, they pick my flaws out. And literally I look at them, I'm like, is it perfectionism? Like, you have horrible perfectionism, so it takes my peace away. However, is that how they feel? Or am I feeling that inside and projecting it into my relationships, and they're just mirroring me? And that is what this whole episode is about. Over the past 2 months of building upon building each week of my experience that I'm having about how we all mirror each other, especially our relationships. And I told my friends all the time, I'm like, I wish I could see myself POV, like how they see me, because none of us see ourselves like everyone else. However, you are the only one that knows you're 100% conscious. And I say this all the time. I'm like, it's kind of scary sometimes. Is everyone else just a robot trying to help you learn, blah, blah, blah? And you kind of feel like the main character syndrome. But here's the thing about that. If you get excited because the universe is shouting out in any way that you connect with your intuition, higher self, for me, it's pop culture, license plates, signs, all sorts of stuff. Sometimes I go overboard and look too much into the meaning. But if that fires something inside of you, sets you on fire, it's okay. It's not about you, right? But then the days that it is about you, where you feel like it's just all pointing to you, that's fine. Because this is a journey of self. Learning about thyself. And ways in which you can create peace inside that can just extend to all of your other relationships. Because you are the core, the rope, the center of all relationships, whether it's sexual, platonic, family, you know what I mean? Even coworkers, associates, anyone in your life, you are the rope, the center, the core. And you can't help anyone else unless you help yourself first. And that's a lot of our conditioning throughout our life. We don't fill our cup up first, and we're running on E. Especially if you are a projector energy type. Because you only get so much energy. Because technically, and human design is amazing because it's very pseudoscience, but it includes chakras and energy and faith and a little bit outside the box thinking. And projectors are a non-energy type, meaning that some of their chakras, like most of my chakras, I have 4 chakras that are defined, but most of my chakras, like my root chakra, which is like grounding, down at your feet, is undefined. And, if you like look at the roots of a tree, that's where it starts. So if that's undefined and you're getting all, amplifying just random energy all around, and that's why I get drained so easily and I'm tired all the time, because what 70% of the population does in 8 hours of productivity, so obsessed with doing things, I can get done in 2 hours. But that's because I don't have enough energy or defined chakras like those energy types to be productive like that. And let me tell you something. That podcast episode I just listened to an hour before I started recording episode 8, finally, it just like blew my mind even more, because I've been in touch with human design in and out, learning about it over the past year, and it just gets, the rabbit hole just gets more and more interesting each time, especially when you're learning about who you are and how you move in this human experience. And it's all about connecting with yourself and all your relationships from a sovereign place, an unconditional place. And we all have a lot of work with that. I feel like a lot of people in my life, in the relationship with my own self, which your relationship with yourself is the most important one. You're stuck with yourself, like, for eternity at this point. Your soul, that energy, it's eternal. Energy doesn't die. So they say. I just can't remember. None of us can. But as you, like, keep living your life, you connect with yourself and you start remembering. So the past 2 months, I've been trying to connect with my intuition on a deeper level. Sorry, I don't know why I pronounce deeper that way. And I try to do kind of the meditative state to quiet my mind, and light a candle and get in a comfortable position. And it needs to be a habit for me personally. I'm learning discipline. I'm always like all over the place. However, that's my energy type. Not consistent. I go with how I feel. Because when I go out in the world, if I'm not in my own energetic space, I'm getting energy from everyone. And I'm tired all the time because I have to release other people's energy through rest. But those people that always have to be productive, aka mom, sister, aunt, they are tired because they keep going, but I feel like they're not accomplishing anything, and they just keep going and going and going. It's not their fault, it's no one's fault, it's just their energy type and how we have been conditioned as humans in this society. So it's kind of cool that I, stumbled upon that podcast before I finally started recording this episode, because it kind of just tied in the past 2 months. And this episode's very important because, well, one, every day the universe is speaking to me in some way, whether it's through a human, the dog, on TV. It's like 8. Like today I was like watching a what was I watching? I think it was some movie. I can't remember, but they were on floor 8, and I kept seeing 8, 8, 8, 8, 8, and it's just like 8s everywhere. And then I've been hearing about Mears Law, and and the skeptic over there, the person way in the back. Well, it's just a pattern. No shit, Sherlock. Literally, DNA is a pattern. We are the pattern. Actually, the first app that I joined in 2019, right, that has to do with astrology and all the stuff that I love now that I'm just diving deep in, it's called The Pattern. And it's actually the most interesting one, I feel. I don't check it every day, but it's like a different app. Because some of those apps, you can be manipulated. I understand that, but it's about faith too. Because as you build your own awareness, because you're only competing with yourself. It's not like, oh, I have higher awareness than you, I'm better. No. It's just awareness for yourself. There's levels to the shit for yourself. And, I heard someone talk about this, and I loved it so much. Sally might only go up one level this lifetime, and Peter might go up 1,000 levels. It's all based on you and what you came to do here, what your soul came to do here. And for me, I'm learning, like, a lot of it's just to be. My friend Jamie calls me be. Like, running around the restaurants when we work together. Be, like, crazy. I was like, bitch, you're crazy. I love her so much, though. But it's funny because she was, like, telling me, like, without even realizing what she was telling me, just be here, to be present. And it's very hard. I don't know what it is for you, for me, because we're so trying to be productive and trying to accomplish all these things, which is great to have desires. But depending on your energy type, it could be a hindrance. It can put you in your not self or shadow self because you're trying to do something that you're not energetically capable of doing. And, that comes with awareness. And like I said to myself over the past few weeks, awareness is literally the Windex for your mirrors. Let me tell you, it makes things so much more clear. Literally the Windex for your mirrors. Write that down because I love it so much. I told my friend Casey the other night about, like, I was, like, explaining kind of, like, where I was going with this episode, because I don't write anything down as I'm planning. I just, like, want to go when I start recording. And I definitely had to make sure I, like, said that because it's so true. This year has put me through the ringer. I feel like I just would attract things in life this lifetime without any, like, effort. Like, I just attract whatever I need. And, like, I'm going through, like, a financial, like, upheaval. And, it's part of, like, my, like, soul's journey in this life. I'm learning about money. Money is such more in depth than we would think. It's intense right now because of greed, especially in America. And the middle class, the lower class, we're struggling. Even if the people that have money, they have scarcity mindset more than, like, people like me who, like, have $10. And it, like, I just pick up on that energy, and it's just like I have to remove myself from those people because I'll just be in the negative loop, round and round. Here I go, like timber. You know what I mean? Like, I have to, like, remove myself and, like, let go of that energy I'm picking up from other people. Because scarcity mindset it's worse than the pandemic, honestly. Like, it's just everywhere. And money, I'm learning, is a relationship, a spiritual relationship. So I'm learning, like, how to attract like I used to. And it's funny because I kind of envy the ignorance that I used to have, honestly, because life wasn't as hard. But that's maturity and emotional growth and all sorts of things. And it's like, I don't know. It's a journey, let me tell you. It's a memorable one, too. Even in 2 years. It's so funny, like, okay, COVID was, like, 2 years ago. It's like, doesn't it feel like 5 lifetimes ago? I tell everyone this. And you might have heard other podcasters, especially if you're listening to this podcast. I jump around. I never listen to podcast episodes chronologically. So if this is your first episode you're listening to because you like the number 8, like it's my life path number. So if you're life path number 8, best of luck to you, because it's a tough one. They're all tough in their own way, but it's meant to stretch you, this life. But it also builds you into a leader and creative in the wealth department. Now, wealth is health, but it also is money, and money is a spiritual relationship. And right now, I feel like I'm totally opposite. But I had to get pulled away from this fantasy I was living in to know what it feels like to not have the income that I would just always have. To learn how to ask for help, which is the most uncomfortable thing I ever go through, especially from family members. It's like I get grief every time I need money because I'm in a bind. Because I'm just getting stuff piled on top of me, shitstorm after shitstorm after shitstorm, because my mind won't take the back seat. It has to be the master, the leader. And that's another episode in the future where we have to work with our mind, but also be the leader for our mind, because our mind could be our greatest asset or our worst enemy. And it's just logically, like, I'm like learning about all this, and as I say it, it's just a spiral to fully understand it. When I first started this journey, I would see like Instagram posts and hear people talk on the their own podcast, or because I never really met a lot of people in my actual life in relationships that are going through this situation. There's a couple friends, but no one like really talks about it, and I'm so excited about it. It's like, was I last to get invited to the party, or it's just this is what I love. This is what I came here to do. But I was like in the dark, quote unquote, literally shot in the dark. Now I'm going through the dark sides of myself, of sadness and, anger that is like, I don't know where the rage comes from, but a lot of people are like that too. My one friend, she's so much rage she said she has. I don't know. I was like, that's why I'm asleep most of my life now. Because wherever I go when I dream, like it's fun in that lifetime. But I need to be here. I need to be present, and something I'll be working on. But if this is your first episode listening to myself talk about my own experience, the first 7 episodes, each episode kind of ties into my actual experience, all leading to a broader topic each episode. So episodes 1 and 2, I'm just going to do a little recap here, were about my awakening journey, the big awakening journey that I had at the end of 2020. Episodes 3 and 4 were about like letting go. And the past 2 months, I've had a lot of resistance to letting go of other things. So life's a spiral. And now I'm starting to see what that means past the logic. Because I feel like there's going to be episodes in the future about letting go more and surrendering. I'm learning the difference. I logically know the difference between surrender and defeat, but I need to feel it. Sometimes I just feel like I'm being defeated and I'm losing this battle. And I can't just surrender and be like, oh, it just won't work. Because I've been conditioned to keep going and going and going. And I want to create my own wealth. I want to be financially secure. I want to get out of Dodge. I want to live my own life and have my own house and all these things. The gifts of being human and being here. Dabbling in the material, I understand. Material it's the spiritual journey. It's not the material world, but I am having a human experience. So those gifts of having material things, just as long as it doesn't inflate your ego. And I'm learning that. But it does affect my self-worth when I can't provide for myself. In my astrology chart, my sun sign is in my second house of finances, and I've talked about this. My self-worth is tied to that deeply, and I feel it deeply. When I get $100 now, I'm like the happiest kid in the world. It's so funny. $100, that's like one pair of shoes I used to buy. Like, it's so funny. I'm like feeling the depths of having a lot and not having anything. Feeling the deepest emotions, the saddest of emotions, and the most euphoric of emotions. It's like I'm hitting all the levels and spectrums. And honestly, I'm learning how to trust in the universe, into my spiritual guides and what have you. I can't see them physically, but I feel them for sure. But it's hard. Our mind won't let us trust. It's scared. It protects us. It's the overprotective parent. You know how that turns out. My best friends, like literally in college, probably the best ever. They just want to have fun. They want to live. But that overprotective parent locked you away all of high school. So what happens when you get away from that overprotective parent? Now, that's just a generalization, and I'm sorry if I offended anyone, if they're going through that, because we all have our trauma with our parents. But no one's at fault. It had to be done for your soul to learn forgiveness, compassion. So, if we all are mirrors to each other, then you can see yourself POV in your own reality. And I've been doing that. I've been pulling my awareness, my conscious awareness, and just observing in a moment a relationship, whether it's my mom, a friend. And this is where I get confused. Inside, I'm having an amazing day, right? And I hang out with one of my friends, so-and-so, and they're angry as fuck. Like, totally opposite of how I feel inside. Are they mirroring how I actually feel inside? This is where I get hung up. I don't know. So I don't know where the line's drawn. If the whole universe is inside you, within, right? This is the first that I was trying to bring this up like 5 minutes ago. Go within. Well, what's that look like? What's that feel like? And I bet you it's 100% different for each person. Because we're all unique. We're all an extension of whoever created us. And that goes to, I'm leaving that up to you, whatever you believe in that's bigger than you. And like the names are interchangeable too. So don't just shut it down because you have something against religion, because you know what I mean? And that's fine. Go above that. That meme with the fish in the bowl, and the arrow's pointing to the goldfish in the bowl, religion, and outside's like a bigger fish in this like ocean, and that arrow's pointing and says spirituality. It's just out of the box thinking, imagination, faith, like all the things that made you happy as a kid. And don't give me that shit saying you're not creative, you have no imagination. My mom literally says that to herself. I was like, mother, open up your pretty eyes and feel it. Remember. How you truly, authentically feel inside is how you should present to everyone else out there. And you know what? You're going to have your bad days and your good days. We're only human. But I feel like the more you let go of the sadness, like for me, like bawling, like literally bawling rivers over the past 2 years, I feel like you get lighter and you start finding your own peace, which is unique to yourself. And I'm still trying to find mine. So it's okay. I'm on this journey with you. You know, I'm not 10 years ahead of you. Like I said, we're competing with ourselves. But I'm a newbie. Like, you know, I'm a newbie to all this. Because 3 years ago, I was doing drugs and spring break forever. In my late 20s, like, no care in the world. My early 20s, I was, like, so rigid and structured. And, like, I wasn't going to have a family because I wasn't accepting of myself at all. But all I wanted to do is work. And at the time, like, you can't win ever because it's like you have less money, but then you don't even have a girl. I've never even been kissed yet, honestly. Like, I've never been in a relationship. I've said this all the time. No, I've been kissed, but, like, it didn't mean anything, though. I didn't feel it. I don't like kissing unless it's a serious relationship. And now that I'm, like, maturing, I have the air quotes, I'm looking for something monogamous and something real, and I feel like I'll know when I see it. That feeling will be a brand new one, and I'm sure I'll know it. But I'm starting to see myself POV just by looking in the mirror. You know, spraying a little bit of Windex, getting a clearer picture as each day passes. And honestly, this year has been tough for me. I've actually lost the lust for life sometimes. I was just in Mexico 2 weeks ago, felt guilty the whole time going because I had no money, but I'm part of this wedding and I already, you know, broke my boundaries for the first time with a friend, and she got upset. And it was to the point where she thought that I just didn't care. I didn't have the love. I was like, do you fucking know who I am inside? Do you understand that I, like, literally stab myself and throw myself off a cliff for everyone else because I don't give a fuck about myself? And I bet you the same thing happens to you. You put yourself on the back burner. You're not even aware. No self-awareness of yourself. It's everyone else. What's she doing? Talking, like, catty girl shit. And don't get me wrong, drama's fun. Like, we're definitely dramatic here. We're acting, right? We're just playing these roles. But I just want peace and happiness to the best that I can. Because we are the definition of peace and love and happiness. So I don't know why we keep running and searching for it when we already came here like that. So it's like letting go of all this fucking dumb shit and just, you know, sorry for the trucker mouth, but I said this before, swear words give emotion to the people that are the non-emotional types. They just give emotion. I feel it. I hate edited music. Like, it's the worst. Like, bleep, bleep. It's the worst. My grandfather used to take me to get CDs all the time, and he would buy, like, edited rap music at Walmart. And for the first time, we went, like, once. I got the Eminem CD and it was edited. It was the worst. I was like 5, literally. So after that, we went to Best Buy because I needed a parental advisory. My family had no restrictions in that sense on me. It was just more of an emotional journey and trauma from that part of my life. But they love me so much that they put me through those things so my soul can grow. And, you know, I'm not 100% sure about anything that I speak about, but that gets me through the day. That calms my mind when I'm about to snap because my mom wants to take my peace because I'm not perfect like her. Or my sister's mad because I'm lazy. No, I'm not lazy. My energy is different than yours. And the worst thing is to just shut it down without, like, listening to someone speak of what they're learning on their own journey and their own awareness. But I want to get to that point where I can talk to my family, a mutual understanding, like, teach each other things. Yeah, I don't know how to change brakes or build a tool shed because the carpenter's stepdad and the uncle that works on cars and all this stuff, they just want to do it themselves. They don't got time to, because they're productivity to teach. No one wants to teach unless they're getting paid at a good school district. No one wants to just teach. Like right now, I'm just teaching for free. I'm just, from my experience, right? It's not in a book. Can't really get a degree yet. But I like doing it without getting paid. Especially right now. I'm feeling great about this. Because, the past 2 weeks, I just didn't want to do it. Because I was like, no one's listening to this. I have most of it's people that actually know me. But it's good because, millennials, we're all in this moment where COVID happened and we sat with ourselves and we're waking up. But, side note, the scammers with spiritual shit stuff, like, stop. Like, go scam someone else. Go on Cash App, scam for nudes. Like, this is real. This is that unconditional. This is everything. And there's scammers out here. And I fell for it. Like, literally, I fell for it. She's like, if you don't pay me $10, I'll kill you. And I literally believe this, like, lady from Africa, she said. She's a spiritual about. I paid her $10 because I was so afraid. No, baby, no. Like, not today. I definitely learned my lesson with that one. But that's how I am, though. I get, like, so that anxiety, like, the worry that stems from the dawn of time, and especially in my lineage, I need to let go of that. That's not me. I've learned that here. A lot of us have anxiety, addicted to drugs, suicides on the rise. Our parents' generation wasn't like that. They weren't addicted to all these drugs and then killing themselves and blah, blah, blah. And if this is, side note, triggering, I apologize. Because it's just so awful. And you might have idealations, if I'm saying that word right. I have them all the time. But I also have that anchor. You don't think he's there? He, she, alien, wherever, the higher self, always with you. Right behind you. If you like Harry Potter, think of Professor Quirrell. You know how Voldemort's on the back of his head? But from a loving perspective. Above good and evil. If that makes sense. Logically, it'll make sense, right? But your mind can't see something so great past that. Your imagination can build it, though, as you grow and speak. Sometimes I'm like, am I really talking to God or the universe? Or I'm just making is this another voice in my head? You just know. It's just this feeling, and it's, when it happened to me the one time, not every day, I'm trying to, I don't know, I just don't even know how to explain it yet. I get excited about it, but it's like, finally someone understands me, if that makes sense. Because I always felt like I was the odd man out, and I didn't know why. I was like, why is everyone so mean here? Like, I thought about in high school. Everyone was so mean. My mind could have, like, manipulated things just to, show me who's boss, but so mean. Because who I chose to have sex with, like, what? And that's still a thing today. Like, still a thing. Color. Racism is still a thing today. Bitch, we are the same inside everyone. We're all the same. We're all light. I'm getting angry right now because it's like, just because she has a good tan and you're albino, you still are light. You still are love. Equal. I don't know why this is still a thing. Like, I get so angry about it. I don't watch the news. People that watch the news love to worry, and they love their anxiety. They have to, because it just keeps building and building and building. And that's from our parents' generation too. I don't know why the news is so, I don't know. It's just like, you'll know the very important stories through social media or because we do communicate, even though we can't even communicate with our own self. It's kind of counterproductive sometimes, the social media and all that stuff. But it is also a powerful tool if the intention is used right. So I kind of got off track there with my little rant. The stuff like gets me fired up. The stuff that I didn't even really think about or care about like 3 years ago, that I like literally like fume about now. It's like so funny how like self-reflecting, looking back, how I've changed. And it's just, it keeps going and going. Like the Energizer Bunny, it just builds upon, the awareness just builds, or your consciousness raises. I'm connecting way more to everything and everyone. I always used to say, like, the friends that I would always have, I would either see a piece of a friend from another moment in my life in this new friend, or I always would see myself. Something about them was in me. And I always like thought about that and like, brushed it off. Like, but I was like starting to remember at the time. But it just builds and builds. Now it's just like everything. Oh, they're talking about me. I'm the main character. Like, no, that's definitely me. But that's okay. You're finally feeling like you belong. You're building self-worth. You're enough. So if someone trips up on you and says, it's not about you, like my mom says that all the time. And I understand that, Mom. But at this moment, and I keep talking about my mom, but like, I just conversate with family at this moment. I'm starting to go out. I'm starting to socialize again, but it's a lot. Like, the energy is just so dense. And the more aware you get of your own energy, the more sensitive it becomes. Especially for me. I had like a meltdown the one night in Mexico on the bachelorette party because I just don't know why. I was just so sad. So I went in early and sat in the shower. Showers are amazing, by the way. Bawling for an hour, like so much tears. And the one friend that was with us the next day, she was like, everyone was so happy at that party in the lobby or whatever. What negative emotions were you absorbing or blah, blah, blah? And I was like, I don't know. I feel like subconsciously in everyone's emotions were negative and I just absorb them. It's a projector energy type, and I have to release them some way. Rest, alone time. I'm moody. I don't choose to be that way. It just is what it is. The tone is picked for the day, the song of the day. I have to feel those emotions now. But everyone has to be perfect and in line, and everyone has to be happy at all times. If you wink off with your head, you know what I mean? That's what it seems like, to me at least. Or is the mirror just showing how hard I am on myself? Am I not showing enough self-compassion, forgiveness, those huge things that stem under love, self-love? I'm my own worst enemy. Yes, I logically said that to myself. No, now I feel that. I know that. However, like I said earlier, I'm learning to decipher when someone's my mirror or it's just their own bullshit. That I have to not let my peace flee with their bullshit. It's hard. It's a spiral. But with practice, you learn how to maneuver. I'm an emotional type. It's part of my energy. There's non-emotionals and there's emotionals. So I'm a little bit dramatic. My mom's the same way. My sister, I think I said this before, she's definitely non-emotional. She only gets like triggered in emotion when we're all crazy because we're the emotional types. But emotionals are important here. They make the non-emotionals feel something. It's very interesting how everything's like orchestrated to the minuscule moment. Like I said before, I was like, take your son to work day. Like it baffles me. Like it's definitely alien for sure too. Aliens are here. Just don't even say I'm woo-woo. Mars Attacks is coming. And I'm going to laugh so hard. And then they're going to just That movie's hilarious. I don't know. It just makes me laugh so hard. But we'll get sidetracked here. Let me just talk about, though, like, I was building my intuition, and this was like 2 days after June 11th when I, published the last podcast episode. And that's when I got the idea of talking about mirrors, how we mirror each other's soul. I was trying to connect on a deeper level, meditatively. My mind doesn't quiet, but, I sat in my room, lit some candles, I put my AirPods in, noise cancellation, and I looked at my alarm clock, which is the Amazon Echo clock, that, it puts up different, ideas, like, hey Alexa, like, it said play classical music. So I went on my Apple Music, though, because I'm an Apple guy. And I was like, I never listened to classical music. I heard it is therapeutic and it does relax the mind and relaxes your body. So I put on a classical playlist. I really like the violin. The sound of the violin is just, it's like one of my favorite instruments. So I just let it play. I started connecting. I wanted to connect with my guides more. I want to see them. I feel them. And they speak to me through movies, music, license plates. Yes, we look for patterns. I understand that. But we are the pattern, DNA. So it's like all those skeptics are... Because I was a skeptic and I understand that. So they're just mirroring like how I don't fully trust, right? It takes time. It takes patience to fully trust. So I'm just getting like those subconscious feelings that I thought I released. They still linger, in all my relationships. They're just showing me like the stuff that I still need to work on, and it's fine. Because I'm learning. I'm trying to learn to just believe in myself, to trust myself. But the roots, the trauma is so deep in this life. And I don't know why. I don't know if I'll ever know the full reason. But right now, that's where I'm at. That segment was like 47 minutes. It felt like I was talking for like 10 minutes. I got a burst of energy. Just, speaking my mind in the most charismatic way possible. Just self-reflecting real quick there. It's funny because, so I use Anchor, like, I'm sure you listen to the beginning of each episode, the kind of, I can't even think of the term. Wow, advertisement that I kind of like put my own spark into. The segments, you can name them. So, it's been like 2 months. So for my avid fans, my besties probably that listen, I actually don't even think my friends listen to this. But that's the thing. I don't want to force my podcast onto everyone. Like, you better listen to my podcast. You know what I mean? No, this is a different frequency that we're in. This is a different chapter of my life now. Perfectionism still seeps in because, it's an art to me. It's an art. But I named that segment because it was like 47 minutes. There's this video on TikTok that is so funny. And I keep saying it to myself in my head as I'm like driving and stuff. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do the voice. She's like, I'm sorry. I swear it's like an Italian lady. So funny. But here's the thing about TikTok. Other than they're stealing all our data and information and what have you. But I feel like they've been doing that since birth. But, someone starts a trend like that, for example, and puts a video and stuff. And then someone else does a trend. That same, they like copy it. Like everyone copies, but puts their own uniqueness into it. I feel like TikTok is just another example of how we all mirror each other. Life is an extension of ourself. So whatever you have that's different than the person standing next to you, just a little tweak of difference. Now is time to bring it to the table. In the way that you want to bring it. And let me tell you, your mind's going to be like, no, bitch. No. And keep you in that fear state. Because when you're in that fear state, like I've said in the episode 6 about fear, and I'm sure I'll come back to it, multiple episodes about fear. Because I feel like I'll learn more fears that I had no idea that I had as I go on this journey. And it keeps you in control. They can control you. People can control you. Society can control you and keep you not sovereign, not empowered, not your true essence that you are meant to shine and be here. And as I'm saying this, I'm just telling myself this too, because I need to let go of those fears of how I'll be perceived. It's like one of my top fears, because I was so scared to come out because of how I'd be perceived. High school was awful because they didn't like me because I was gay, but how I would be perceived. No one likes my podcast. I'm not going to be famous. I'm not going to get the recognition that I so direly want and need, and which I'm still wondering why it's growing. Why do I need that recognition? Projector energy, they want they're here for the recognition, but from a different space, not an ego booster. It's fulfillment. I have all this energy right now because I feel fulfilled talking this way. A little bit of sass, a little bit of fun. I feel like I was trying to perfect the episodes the past few times because I listened to other podcasters, and it seems like each week they all talk about kind of the same thing. But that could be spirit, talking to each one of them. And we could bounce ideas just from listening and stuff. And we should do that. That's how we connect with each other. Not like plagiarism verbatim, but I'm just saying like it's consistency for some people. I'm not consistent, obviously. And I was felt so guilty about that, like I said. But when I'm ready, I do what I do when I'm ready to do, and for those of you that like structure and episode 1, I'm listening to this, we're all different. And I totally respect that because I am rigid sometimes. I have a lot of Capricorn planet placements, which keeps me so compartmentalized. I said that amazingly. Wow. I couldn't say that word for the damnedest amount of months. And I think I said that great. It keeps me like rigid and it undermines myself. And I'm learning that. I'm seeing that. You can read it about yourself and logically be like, okay. But then when you like start become aware of that in your day to day, it's intense. That's where everything starts connecting and showing you what you need to look at, the root at. And it's funny because I just like once the South Node in Scorpio, my first house, moves in July. I said July 23, 2023, I graduate. Like, we're having a party. But no, it's the rest of my life here. Like, healing is just, it's not so much healing. It's just like building awareness. Awareness is, when you learn something new, your awareness builds. Human design, it's a pseudoscience that deals with quantum physics and astrology and chakras. It kind of like builds upon, I talked about this before. Like, I started with astrology, dabbled in, I wasn't great at physics in high school, but quantum physics is different. I feel like it's way more interesting than light bulb stuff. But like, everyone has their sciences that they like. But this is the shit that should be taught in school now. This is the stuff that I would have creamed my jeans, literally creamed my jeans. I would have got a bachelor's, a master's, blah, blah, blah. I just didn't feel fulfilled and I never graduated. I wanted to get socialized. I'm sorry. Literally, I'm going to say that in my sleep. TikTok is funny. I just get like, the trend is in my head for like the one before that. I know I'm getting a little off track, but it's that song, and in the back he's like, you want to dive in it? You want to dive in it? I'm like, and I would just say that in Mexico, like on and on and on. And I bet my friends were like, shut the fuck up. But it was just so funny. Oh, wow. Sorry. Hold, please. I don't know what. Oh, it's Instagram. I was Instagram playing those Instagram reels. Like, if you claim this and you saved this tonight, a miracle will happen. Honestly, I love those things. Maybe the miracle won't happen tomorrow, but, with patience, just putting and reading those things into your thoughts, even if it just flutters back into your subconscious, that's good material. That's good content. You're feeding and you're nurturing like good things. A lot of the stuff does sound woo-woo, and, it's all up to you and what your boundaries are and what you like, and beliefs will shed over time, or so I've heard. But it's funny because when this first started, I was, I'm like researching, and what are we researching for? Like, I don't know. I just love learning all this stuff. And it's funny because my family members that I definitely had no idea they even knew anything about this. It's funny because I logically learned that when you start healing yourself, everyone around you, your relationships, your mirrors, the cracks get fixed with a little bit of putty. No, but the Windex for everyone. It's like magic in a weird way. Or maybe they've always felt these things, but people are just afraid to speak about them. I never would have thought in a million years I'd be a voice of the new age. I like the term new age. Some people don't like terms, but the new age of just spiritual beings. Having the human experience. Coming together with everyone's beliefs and just accepting and loving people despite what they think or believe in, just meeting them where they're at and just loving it anyway, but it's wishful thinking, I understand, but there's a lot of us that feel this, that want peace, that want harmony, that want a barter system, that don't want create. But I understand, but I'd rather travel than, work at a restaurant. Anyone would. I'm sorry, but, I'm not keeping myself in that thought that, if it doesn't happen in this 5 years, then it's never going to happen. So I'm just going to keep working at that restaurant and feel like a servant. No, I'm not doing that. I keep trying to get, forced into, a box by everyone in my life, and I just wanted to be just leave me alone. And I get so angry. And, I literally started driving to DC tonight. I'm staying with my friend Jess, one of my good friends since high school. She lives in Alexandria. She works downtown DC. She invited me to come, and, the invitation as a projector, right? It's more about, job, career, moving for yourself and stuff. But a couple weeks ago, she invited me. And I just texted her today. I was like, I'm already on the way. I'm coming for the week or whatever. I don't know how long I'm staying. But my peace was taken away again tonight. Because no one wants to, meet me halfway in my life. Just try to understand, what I'm learning. That what's my truth. And it hurts me because it's love with condition. And I don't do that. I might come off cold, aloof, blah, 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 but I literally would give the shirt off my back for anyone. If I had $1 to give to people, I would. I try my best. But the more you have, the more you can share. And everyone has their moments in life. But I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal from what I'm learning. I'm not building an ego here. I just want to bring my deep wishes for Earth in this human experience to fruition. And I'm sure a lot of millennials and even people that are older Because it's funny, there's a lot of, our parents' age is a little bit older than our parents, that their minds are just way out there and way open, and they keep quiet because they're different than their, pupils or age groups. I don't know. They want harmony. They want peace too. They want creativity. They want fun. They want just... But then I sit down and I'm like, well, if we had all those things, then why are we here? We're not going to really learn anything. We'll just be at peace. Heaven on earth, though, right? And that's when your imagination kind of simmers down, because you're just I don't know anything. But that's how I started to feel, how the more you learn, the more you don't know anything. But you just get bamboozled, and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna stop right there. We'll try again tomorrow. But like I said, the last segment, I know, got on tangents, I'm sorry. But I was connecting with intuition more, from a more place of solace and quiet, and just I was listening to this random classical composed song came on, and I was like, I heard this before. It starts with a piano, and then comes the violin, and I was like, oh, I love this shit. I love violins. Like I said before, I love this. So no one's singing. It's just a 10-minute song. I'm like, what is this? So I looked on my phone, and if anyone's German listening to this podcast, if you ever stumble upon this podcast, I am apologizing in advance, because I can't, I don't have that accent. But the name of the composed song is Spiegel, I'm Spiegel. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Sorry again. I was like, what does that mean? And then I was like, Smiegel from Lord of the Rings? That creepy little dude? He had 2 names, Hannah Montana, Gollum, no, Spiegel, I'm Spiegel. So I looked it up, right? I love looking things up. And it's mirror within a mirror, or mirror with infinite mirrors in German. And I'm not going to go into detail about composed classical music, because I never really learned and studied that stuff. But the original composer, which I believe in 1977, his name starts with an A, Arlo, right? I don't write stuff down. I don't have a report to tell you exactly. I knew this a couple weeks ago when I should have done the podcast, right? Now, you can look it up, because I told you the title, and that's the main importance. And this guy was a minimalist in music, which is amazing. So he's amazing. He's kind of a trailblazer in that sense with this. But there was a lot of musical detailed words when I was reading about it, that I was just I can't really speak about this because I don't understand any of it. But the gist of what I got is he the way that the music plays and intertwines with each other, it's just it could go on for an infinity. There's a song that, it came out in 2017 apparently, but I love you for infinity. My skin crawls with that song. I love it. It's so good. Buzz Lightyear just came out. I didn't see it yet. I heard it wasn't that great. There's a lot of critics for these kids' movies these days. But to infinity and beyond. And I truly believe that, our soul's eternal. It's for infinity. Love's infinity. Our bodies won't be there. So get your picks in. Take with you souvenirs. But it's just, we all, the infinity mirrors where you just look and you just see yourself for infinity, basically, until you can't see anymore. Just like in a fun house or something, you know what I mean? from a musical perspective. But that's like how I connected with intuition to give me the idea of what my episode 8 would be, or infinity, which is my life path 8. 8s are big for me in my life. I was born in 1988. I said this before, and that's where I wanted to go with this whole episode. But for the newbies that stumbled upon episode 8 for the first time, this is like how I connect to spirit. It's from everything that I've loved since I was singing Madonna on karaoke at age 1 at the parties. And the songs that I would sing are coming back through TikTok. TikTok's like an infinite mirror situation going on. Like I said before, we all just like kind of copy and bring our own unique creativity to it. I try to do it. I still like just, do the like pout face that my friend Rachel said that I created the pout face that the Kardashians use now, like years ago. I used to get made fun of for it. I was like, I just like do it myself, but now they do it, and now it's like, well, I have to make up a new one. Me and my friend Duffel Bag Red, he literally told me, he's like, I swear that they just stalk our Instagrams and take our ideas and get paid for it. And honestly, I wouldn't run it by anyone these days, how life is going. But social media is so ego-centered. But sometimes I just let my ego out on social media, because it's not real. It's just frozen moments in time. Like, I'm learning that the spiritual realm is right next to us. It's not above us. It's just living, coexisting without, even though we can't see. But to them, time is a construct. It's not real. It's just a one moment. Our lives. The movie Old that I just seen. It's like the synopsis is like this family goes on a trip, like, and they go off to this private island from the resort. Apparently it's this huge experiment. And like in one day they go through their whole life cycle. It was kind of sad, honestly. But if you think about that, isn't that kind of like time, as if the spiritual realm's looking at us as one moment? That's us, the observers, watching that movie Old, or the people running the experiment in the movie. It's similar, right? Before I posted the episode on June 11th, I had a day where I connected with my intuition. It was so intense that, like, I thought I was going to burst. My head was going to explode, because I just looked at so much information that I actually wrote it down in like a little book that I had, because I usually don't write things down, which I need to start doing journaling, where automatic writing, where you could just, it's like kind of, you can connect to spirit in that sense too. There's so many different ways. Everyone's going to find their own, not niche, but like unique way to connect to spirit. Mine's through all the stuff that I love. And a lot of people my age love. Even the younger people. It's in the music. It's all in the music. And then as you build your awareness, go back and listen to all your favorite songs. It brings new meaning to the songs. You think he's talking about some girl, like, and those saddest songs of all time. I literally think he's talking about his relationship to God or to the universe. Or the universe is speaking through his voice to show you how much you're loved. And I'm going to just end this episode with David Bowie, 1986, Labyrinth. Scared the shit out of me. He has a huge bulge. He's the man, actually. Power of the Babe. If you guys are kind of young, 21, you probably are like, what the fuck is he talking about? And that's fine. Go watch it. It's with Jennifer Connelly. She has a little brother. He, like, I don't know, he cried for a second and she, like, wanted him dead. Literally, off of his head. Little boy, poor little boy. Or it was like half-brother or something. I can't remember the actual details, because he used to scare me. But she ends up going to save him. And she has so much time to go through this labyrinth. And he's the king of the goblins or the fairies. It's actually a Jim Henson who created the Muppets movie, and it's like very dark. And at my age now, not when I was younger, but because it actually came out 2 years before I was born, but the whole movie centers upon, it's all a construct or projection from her mind. Everyone in that movie, all the goblins, all the creatures. It's about coming of age, becoming a woman, how the antagonist, right here, I'm like going back to literature class, like the antagonist, the Goblin King, actually loved her, but that's just a part of in her mind, you know? He's just another construct in her mind. And it scares me, actually, because sometimes I'm like, am I like really alone here? Is everyone just like a figment of my, you know, it sounds like the main character syndrome, but like I said, you are the only one that knows you're 100% conscious. No one else. You don't know anyone else. I mean, you can go by love and just be like, you trust the person next to you, but you are the only one. And you are the only one that can't see yourself POV. Unless you have really good Windex and you take a look in the mirror in all your relationships. All right, I'll see you next episode. Have a good night. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Hope on Road. Never miss an episode by subscribing, and don't forget to follow @Hope on Road on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.